today in the studio we have the Powkiddy RGB10 Max. This is essentially, for all intents and purposes, a clone console of the Odroid Go, just in a different casing and a little better build quality overall. Packaging, really no frills, no thrills. I mean, it's just a khaki colored slipcover box. Now, I reviewed tons of emulation handhelds on this channel, and one of the #1 criticisms I always hear is, I wish the screen was bigger, I wish the screen was bigger. So specifically, that's why I went out and got this, to see if we got a bigger screen, if that makes any more, gaming difference for somebody out there that's potentially looking or shopping for a handheld emulation console. It does come in various different colors. I got this sherbet orange. Very basic design aesthetic overall, which is nice. No crazy branding or logos. They were kind enough to put their logo on the backhand side as opposed to in bold, font across the front like other companies like Anbernick have done. As far as our button layouts and everything, we got a start and select over here in the left and right hand corners. We got L and R joysticks, analog joysticks that are recessed a little bit. So this is actually going to be a little bit, kind of a pocket friendly console, assuming you have long, deep pockets. But as far as how thick it is, because it has that recessed joystick, it actually is going to be pocket friendly. So we got those analog joysticks with L3 and R3 support. We got our A, B, and our X and Y, and then we got our shoulder buttons, L1, L2, R2, R1 up top. We got a directional D-pad, and then we got 2 function buttons up here in the top left-hand corner and the right-hand corner. We got our power LED indicator up here. And again, up top, we have our power button, our reset button, our Wi-Fi toggle, so turn that Wi-Fi on and off because it has built-in Wi-Fi. Our USB-C charging port, our headphone jack, an OTG port, our micro SD card port, and then our volume up and down. So very simple, very easy to navigate aesthetic. There's no buttons here on the bottom, so it'll actually sit comfortably and you don't have to worry about inadvertently turning the power off or resetting it. There's a lot of handheld emulation devices that made that mistake. And there's nothing on the sides as far as powers or menus or anything like that. So let's go ahead and turn this bad boy on and see how the game and menu navigation looks. So the place I got this console from, it did come preloaded with an SD card. 64 gigabyte preloaded with thousands of games. As you can see, it's got over 20,000 games on this SD card slot. It'll play all your favorite retro consoles, arcade games, Nintendo, SNES, Sega Genesis, PC Engine, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Virtual Boy. It's when it gets to things like Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, PSP, and select PlayStation 1 games that things really start to kind of get iffy. Now, it does have a bunch of awesome things on here like Sega NAOMI and Thomas Wave, which is super exciting and surprising, honestly. But on this current stock firmware that this device is using, you're going to get really lackluster performance on those. Are those systems playable? Yes. Is it an enjoyable experience? Not really. I mean, you're going to get a lot of audio crackling issues. You're going to have frame rate issues. So a lot of those games are going to be running at 50, 60, 70% frame rate. So it's just not the best experience. Can you change that? Yes. Are there different firmwares out there available for this system that really improve the performance of things like Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, NAOMI, Thomas Wave? Absolutely. But for the common person that's probably looking to buy one of these, you're looking to just unbox this, take it out, turn it on, and play it. You don't want to have to mess with the hassles of loading your own games or custom firmware updates or anything like that. That's probably why you're already looking for a console like this, for the simple, turn on, plug and play solution. The navigation menu is very good. Got these nice backdrop images for all the systems. Everything's pre-organized and categorized so you can find exactly what you want to find. And there is some nice scraped video images and clips and box arts for a lot of these systems. However, it isn't for every system. So go to Mega Drive and you'll see example. See, we got some nice, video playing, some description, even though it's in the incorrect language there. But overall, a nice presentation. But if we go to other things like Genesis, you'll see there's no preloaded image or video graphics or anything like that going on in the background. You can completely load your own and scrape your own images, put together your own box art. But again, obviously that's more extra work. And a lot of people just want to turn the system on, plug and play. If you want to change your settings, you can just hit that start button and then you'll be able to get into the Emulect settings, or you can go into the RetroArch settings, all sorts of different options. Like I said, you can come down here to scrape, system settings, network settings. So again, we've mentioned it has Wi-Fi built in. We got the Wi-Fi button up at the top. You're just simply going to turn it on. Then you go to your network. connect to your home network ID and everything, and then you'll be good for wireless connection. That's how you can also do a wireless system software update, or you can manually do it, finding a firmware online or something like that. But a lot of options. You can change your controller settings, you can change the widescreen aspect. So yes, this is a widescreen system. All your games that have a normal native 4:3 aspect ratio are going to be stretched. If you don't want it stretched, then you'll go into the system menu, change the aspect ratio to 4:3 or something, and then you'll have the black bars on the sides. Completely up to you. But let's go ahead and get into the emulation, see how it performs, and I'll show you some prime examples of some games that perform great and some not so great. At the end of the day, it's a pretty nifty little device. Screen is nice, the form factor, the compact aesthetic. Like I said, you can slide this into a pocket, which is really nice. I like the control layout, the feel of everything, the casing. It's got a nice grippy texture to it. You're going to get about 4 to 5 hours battery life, depending on what emulators you're running and if you're using Wi-Fi, things like that. One key criticism I do have of this device, though, is that it doesn't have the dual speakers. It's got these vents here for allowing sound and heat to dissipate and escape. However, we only have that one single speaker, and it just really needs to have dual stereo speakers in this, in my opinion, to compete with the rest of the devices out there on the market. Now, it is a nifty little device, plays thousands and thousands of games, and what really bugs me the most about this, though, unfortunately, the stock firmware on this is just super underutilized, not set up and configured correctly to run these games. You can go out there, get a custom firmware installed on this, and you'll get much better performance out of the Dreamcast, Nintendo 64, NAOMI games, as I mentioned previously. However, that really kind of defeats the purpose of, getting one of these systems for, just some easy, casual gameplay. So if you don't mind going out there and finding your own custom firmware, you can absolutely make this thing sing, purr, do all sorts of great fancy things that you're not able to do with the stock firmware. However, right out of the box, you will be limited to just the older systems, the non-super powerful 3D emulated games, because quite frankly, those are pretty much unplayable in my opinion. It's just not a good experience overall. So if you're really dependent on N64, Dreamcast, PSP type of games, then either A, set aside some time to put on some custom firmware, or B, look elsewhere for your device.